Hello, everybody. It's Friday. That means it's time for another topic of the week. So, first things first, last week's topic on the Warhammer community. Lots of good responses there, good discussion. Several people made response videos, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Doom and Darkness has a nice 30-minute sort of uh, like a Fellini film in black and white he shot from his vacation talking about the community. I highly recommend that. That's a lot of fun. If you're in for a good Doom and Darkness ramble, it's a solid one and such an artistic taste. I love it. So, anyway, a lot of the discussion was around that most people are pretty positive on what they've seen. There was a couple people, and myself included, who mentioned, more like designer commentary background stuff, insight into that. And I agree. I'm all for that. To me, that's one of the things they're not doing right now that I would love to see more of. Why certain decisions are made, kind of discuss the intentions and the thoughts behind design choices. I think that can guide us a lot and help us a lot in our own discussions at the tabletop as well. So we understand kind of the point of what's going on. It becomes easier to navigate that. But that's last week. So as always, that video will be linked down below, so you can check that out. Let's talk about this week's topic. So as I'm sitting here recording this, I'm about to go to Gen Con, and I'm very excited about that. And one of the things that frequently happens at big conventions is you have your first experience with a lot of new games. Like at a big convention, especially like Gen Con, which is going to be 70,000 people this year. Every day sold out. It's the 50th anniversary. It's going to be legendary. One of the things that often happens is you get to see a bunch of new games, play a bunch of new games. Obviously not just war games, but every type of game. So, and that got me thinking back to, and this week on the show, we talked about getting new people into the hobby, and I mentioned my first war game I ever played, I suppose, my first game of Warhammer. But it got me thinking about your first experience. I mentioned on Warhammer Weekly that my first experience with war games, with Warhammer specifically, since that was the first one I played, was actually bad. Like, it wasn't a great fun time. I decided to stick with it and wanted to keep playing it. But in honesty, it was a pretty awful experience. I had many greater experiences in the games to come. But it made me think about your first experience with war games. So I thought it'd be fun to get a little nostalgic and to go back and to have people share in the comments or make a video about your first time, your first experience with war games. Maybe what led you to it. Why did you want to play a war game? Like, what pushed you over the edge? Did you come in from role playing? Did you come in from Hero Quest? Did you come in from a video game? What got you interested? And then how was that first game? Did you have somebody who really helped you out? Did you just walk into a shop and say, hey, this looks cool, tell me about it? I'm really interested in how people get into this hobby, because it is such a big barrier of entry. And to me, that first game means so much. So it'll be interesting for all of us who are maybe players or aspirational players who play regularly or maybe every so often. And I don't care what war game you play, by the way. It could have been anything. It could have been your first game of anything, any war game at all. It doesn't have to be Warhammer. Many people probably came from other games first. Maybe you played historicals first. Maybe some other skirmish game first. Whatever. What was the first time you sat down with little plastic, soldiers and said, I'm going to play this game, or metal, or whatever. You get the point. When is the first time you did that? What was the experience like? Did you have a sort of a good tutor who walked you through it? Did you have to more or less fight through it? I'm really interested in people's first experiences because I think it says a lot. And the fact that we're all still at least interested in this means we must have had maybe not a terrible experience, but I'm not sure that's true. Because as I thought back on my own, I had a terrible first experience, yet I still stuck with it. So I wonder if there's something about that first time that's interesting. What did you think was cool? How was the other person who taught it to you? Was there an army you played that you really loved the first time you sat down? That kind of thing. Just talk through your first experience with wargaming. I think that's an awesome topic. I'm very interested to hear people's stories. So like I said, throw them down in the comments or make a response video because, as always, we'll link that right down below. So you can always return here and see those response videos. But there you go. That's this week's topic. Look forward to reading all the comments. And as always, we'll see you next time.